Yes, good evening, everybody. Well, what is it like relocating in Britain from somewhere like Hong Kong? Well, one of the most distinguished names in Hong Kong, esteemed entrepreneur and philanthropist William Jay, has embarked upon a quest to help some of the 5.4 million eligible Hong Kong citizens seeking to relocate and set up residency in the UK. Now, in the first half of this year, a whopping 65,000 people from Hong Kong applied for a special 5-year visa to live in the United Kingdom. The visa programme was launched in response to a harsh new national security law imposed on Hong Kong by the Chinese government. William understands firsthand the apprehensions and barriers in setting up a new life overseas. That's why he has set up his new UK-based charity, the Hong Kong People Association. And William, I'm very pleased to say, joins me now. Thank you so much. Look,
thank you.
Just talk me through exactly what your charity is doing then, and then let's look into maybe what the reality of life is like on the ground in Hong Kong at the moment. But
sure.
Yeah.
Yes, I think the Hong Kong People Association, the major objective is to help Hong Kong people to settle down here easier and integrate to the society easier, and also help the British to understand the Hong Kong people as well.
OK, well, why is it necessary then? Because, look, we all see a bit of what's going on in the news over there. You will have more first-hand experience of it than most. What's reality like in Hong Kong at the moment?
Well, I think Hong Kong right now is hypersensitive in terms of political situations, and as you read all in the newspapers as well. Just give you an example. Like recently, actually 2 weeks ago, there was a Hong Kong marathon. There are many runners attend. And what happens is actually people wearing some clothes with some slogan, Hong Kong at all. Basically, it's an encouragement, phase, meaning that, just Hong Kong go on, right?
Yeah.
And they're not allowed to attend. The reason for that is actually this slogan probably considered to be politically sensitive.
Damn.
So they have to change their clothes. So I think what happens in Hong Kong is like a lot of Hong Kong people, they're used to have the freedom of speech, freedom of assembly, and they're quite concerned right now. So I think a lot of people, I have been receiving a lot of inquiries, messages for Hong Kong people, they want to move to the UK because of the British National Overseas Passport Programme.
Yeah, I actually know that firsthand because I was recently looking to move back to London, obviously, and I was looking in a place called Maidenhead, and we were told there by the estate agents that were showing me around, they're getting thousands and thousands and thousands of people who are coming over from Hong Kong. I mean, they're building places almost just for these people. But yes. It does seem like a desperate situation at the moment in Hong Kong for a lot of people. And the Chinese government behaving like the Chinese government normally does, pretty authoritarian to say the least. Is that right?
Well, yeah, in a way, at least the Hong Kong people, this is not what the Hong Kong people has been promised. The basic law and, the one country, two system, basically what they said is the Hong Kong will remain the same for 50 years. And a lot of Hong Kong people, they don't feel that way.
Yeah.
So I think those people decided to stay in Hong Kong, that's fine. This is their decisions. But I think the key thing is that we have to give the freedom of choice for the people. If they want to come to UK to study, to work, to live, and we should try our best to help them. And I think the most concerns for those Hong Kong people is whether they can find a job, whether they can, what's the tax system, the education system, things like that. So that's why I decided to set up the Hong Kong People Association to actually help them. Actually last Saturday, we had a seminar. It's a charity. It's all free of charge. We have the tax experts to introduce the whole tax system of UK.
Right.
And also we have the recruitment experts to explain the whole employment market. Basically telling them that if you decided to come, it's actually, it's quite easy to find a job, the tax system, things like that, education. We are having another education seminars later on, just to tell the people, how to study here, their kids, something like that. So just to give them more choices.
Absolutely. Well, it sounds fantastic work. It is fantastic work, of course it is, and no doubt you're going to help the lives of tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands, of people. What's the view of Britain like amongst Hong Kongers then? Is it a straight shoot? I'm obviously an outsider when it comes to this stuff. Is it a straight shootout between whether you feel more Chinese or more British, or is there that strong national sense as well?
Well, actually, Hong Kong used to be the British colony, so actually they quite get used to the lifestyle, things like that. The Hong Kong, they have the double-deck bus, for example. A lot of the roads is in the names of the British, same as the British streets as well. Yeah. So I think they quite get used to the environment. And the other thing is actually, Hong Kong is one of the top 3 financial centers, Hong Kong, New York, London. So it's actually easy for them to, they want to move to some places. as good as Hong Kong. And London or Britain in general is basically the first choice for them. Plus the fact that, in the past, if you want to migrate to Hong Kong as an investment visa, for example, you need £2 million. And right now, the British government basically gives them such a big, a big gift, put it this way. They can just use their British national overseas passport to come here. They can live and study and work here. So it's actually a big dream for a lot of Hong Kong people. But the concern is whether, they can find a job here. Whether their kids can be very, easily educated here. So this is the concern. So I've been receiving a lot of inquiries on that. So that's why we decided to set up this organization, just to clear their concerns.
Yeah, I want to shortly just talk to you a bit about your own personal life, really. Yes. Well, I've got you pick your brains. I might learn a thing or two, I could do with learning about that, But just in terms of how life for Hong Kongers is likely to change if they stay there at the moment under the Chinese government, what basic changes do you think they can expect to see in their lives?
Well, first of all, we see the education sector changing already. So right now, all the schools, they have to adopt the kind of national security rules related educations. And, the teachers, students, they have to follow the rules. And I think I would say all walks of life, there will be changes. And you don't hear so many voices of, on the opposite side, put it this way. I mean, even when I have many WhatsApp groups, different groups with different, people. And actually, they start to, concerned on what they said in the WhatsApp as well, right? So this is not healthy. This is not good. Yeah. We've been enjoying like a freedom of speech for a long time, and they start to have a self-examinations. What about if this message is leaked out? Would it impact on my career, on my or even on my political issues? It's a big concern right now.
It's a massive concern, yes. Really, and I think it shows really where they are over there. Have you had any pushback from the Chinese government at all yourself?
Well, I think what happens is like, I'm in the financial fields, and of course, we have our funds have a lot of investments in China as well. And what happens, we see the changes actually, and that's why we decided to focus on the UK, and also Europe and even US as well. I think right now it's a very unstable in terms of the situations in Hong Kong and even in China. You see a lot of things going on, Evergrande, for example, and a lot of the some tycoons. They're in trouble with the government, and so I think what happens is we see a lot of changes for the past several years, and we would like to see the stability. I'm sure all the investors would like to see that as well. Before the investment, they would like the more stability before the future investments.
Okay, well, now this is the bit of the show where you make me £1 million, okay? So I want to know, I want to pick your brains as to how you started out becoming so successful. You're a fabulously successful entrepreneur. You're obviously an incredibly intelligent chap. How did it all start for you?
Well, I've been in the financial sector for over 20-something years, and I was actually chairman of Macquarie Bank's Greater China business, so I actually know China quite well. I've been to almost 200 cities in China and spent my life in Hong Kong, China. So, but of course, I've also connected with the Western world. I mean, Hong Kong is actually a very special place, kind of a blending between the West and the East. And so I find it actually not difficult for me to adapt the lives in UK. Yeah. And with this knowledge, actually, I can give a lot of advice to different Western investors. They want to invest into China or in Hong Kong. So with this knowledge, basically I built my own investment funds, and it's been doing okay. And so I think, and I would like to reward. I would like to give back to the society, especially those in Hong Kong. In fact, my company hired almost 30 Hong Kongers. All of them, they come to UK through the BNO program. So I think I talked to a lot of them, and then I see the difficulties, I see their what they want to do, and their hope here. So I think this is what I want to do.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And in fact, I think those Hong Kongers, they can help the UK as well.
Absolutely.
There is a report published by the Centre for Economics and Business. Actually, what they said is that for the coming several years, the Hong Kongers coming to UK can add 40 billion pounds to the GDP of UK. So I think this is a mutual, basically.
Oh, absolutely. I don't think I don't very much doubt anyone in the UK doesn't feel that way as well. And I think there is that sense, certainly there is from me as well, that, Hong Kong's been a proud friend and part of our society and everything like that. And now, sometimes you owe your friends something, right? And sometimes, and maybe now we're in that position, frankly. So, but I just wanted to finish really with you by saying, if you had any advice for anyone who wanted to start out in, being an entrepreneur or starting out in business, and, they've got not a lot of experience on it, but they've got a lot of ambition, and it's a difficult climate at the moment with everything that's been going on. What would your piece of advice to them be when they're getting started?
Well, I think, first of all, don't worry first. I mean, you have to just take the first step. A lot of people, they want to be 100% safe, and then find a job first before coming. And in fact, what we're seeing is that this is a huge market in UK. And at the end of the day, compared with Hong Kong is very small, right? The opportunity is very limited. But, UK is a country, right? We see a lot of opportunities here. So I think just if you decide to come to here, I mean, don't worry. Just take the first steps, and then you will go on.
And you're helping them to do that. So before we finish, just run us through again what the process is that you're setting up at the minute, how they can contact you, how they can get in touch with your charity.
Yes. And actually, of course, we are still building up the whole things, and our website is hkpeople.org. And they can contact, and I'm trying to set up, a hotline as well. They can send messages, they can things like that, and then all the topics that people are, like to understand: education, healthcare, tax, recruitment, all these things will be in the website. So we're building that right now. Yeah.
Well, thank you very, very much for your time, and thank you for coming into the studio.